This particular song has been an anthem to many Kenyans, both young and old, hence not just being a song, but a piece of advice to the generations. According to a recent survey by the National Campaign Against Drug Abuse, NACADA, Nairobi has the highest rate of alcohol consumption, followed by other counties. John Kamau Njuguna, a transformed alcohol addict, gives us a reason to travel all the way to Gikambura, a place in Kikuyu town. This is indeed a story of transformation.
I'm John Kamau Njuguna. I was born in Nakuru County, Molo Sub-County, at a place called Molo. Started schooling at Molo Academy Primary School. In 2001, I proceeded to Koelel High School, where I did my Form 4 in the year 2005. From there, I proceeded to Jomo Kenyatta University, where I pursued Bachelor's of Commerce Marketing option. I'm a firstborn in a family of three. We are three: me, my brother, and a little sister. I was brought up by a single mother since 1999 after losing my father through kidney complications. Yeah. From there, I've been involved in several issues that involved alcohol abuse, tobacco, cigarettes, and at one particular time, I used to consume Valium so that I could be able to feel the effect of alcohol. But then alcohol was not doing anything, could not take me as high as I want. I started consuming alcohol in the year 2004 when I was at Koelel High School. It started in a very funny way. We became friends with a certain group that had a common enemy. We had a common enemy in the school because a canteen had been closed. So it was an issue of rebellion. So because we had a common ambition, we had to merge. As part of the solution to the closed canteen, sneaking was the option, so that we could acquire what that was now the school could not offer since the canteen had been closed down. So the option was sneaking, and it basically started like a business, because when you sneak, you come with more variety than now available in the school since the canteen has been closed. So it started like a business, and we found ourselves taking. Some of the people in the crew were used to alcohol, and it was an issue of coaching. So somebody will coach you, and it was a bit easier. If this one is too bitter, there's something sweeter for you. So the introduction was like an orientation, and that's how it started. I remember at high school level, you're experimenting. Whichever will come sweet for you, now you start via that line. Yeah. And it was fatal because at one time in 2003, we were involved in a school strike that burnt the school staff room, and but we were all under influence of alcohol. When I joined the university, now the issue of freedom was now freedom was too much, and I could not handle. So now the frequency of taking alcohol now gets to another level. Nakumbuka at one particular time, I could start planning for Fridays on Monday. And every coin you're having, you're saving it so that you can take liquor on Friday. Now, unfortunately, when you're in campus, now the Friday starts coming to Thursday. The Friday then comes to Wednesday. And the Friday now comes to Tuesday. And the Friday now becomes every day. Now you start consuming liquor every day. Anytime it's available, you're drunk. Now that's the issue, and I performed poorly in the first year and the second year of campus. And I rediscovered myself when I was in third year. Now alcohol graduated to another point after I got my first job, even before graduation. When I was in fourth year, After graduation, I was sacked 2 months after graduation, that is 2011, because I could no longer perform. Let me tell you, ukikunywa pombe ya jana usiku, it smells bad than ya kukunywa asubuhi. So people at all times think you are drunk even while you are not. So na sasa kuna psychological issues that unaanza kufight. You start now unaanza kufight na reality, shame, all those things now start engulfing your mind. So after I was sacked, I got a certain job at a veterinary farm in Dar es Salaam called Multivet Services that used to import animal health medication and pharmaceuticals. Due to culture shock, I never drank for the first several months. But after that, I started drinking as usual. Na nikaona kama ni kawaida. In fact, I was introduced to a certain bar in Tanzania that was owned by Kenyans. So when Kenyans are in a foreign land, there is a solidarity. Sasa mpaka unakopeshwa so that they can increase the flow. And now liquor was, nimekunywa sasa keg. It is not taking me anywhere. I'm not drinking spirits, which is not taking me anywhere. Now I had to look for something else that would at least hike the feeling. Nikaanza kuvuta tobacco. I started sniffing tobacco, the Masai thing. Hiyo ilikuwa inakuzima kaa bulb. You have to take that when you're at home, so that you don't, so that nothing interferes in between you and your bed. By that time I was around 110 kgs. I was big. So nikitumia hizo stuff zote, nikitumia pombe, D5 na nitumie tobacco, I couldn't be able to understand what is disturbing me ama what I'm missing. So the first thing in the morning was to go for alcohol. And ilinisumbua sana because niko naamka kutoa lock nikifikiria this particular situation needs alcohol. But unfortunately I was mistaken. When after some time I went to the hospital and my pressure was running at 170, 160. And after treatment I was told to cut down my weight. But I never sikukata hiyo weight voluntarily. It was involuntary because I developed diabetes mellitus. I think stress factors were also an issue because I was managing a big lot of staff at that particular time who had now discovered that their boss is drunk. So they started even nicknaming me names. Some used to call me Mlevi Umbwa because you see a dog has no focus. It can sleep there, it can urinate there, it can walk aimlessly. So I'd drank myself to that particular level. I cut weight up to 48 kgs.
Nothing is worse than missing an opportunity that could have changed your life. And this is exactly what transpired in John's life. Missing opportunities due to alcohol.
When I left Kenya, I was somebody who was healthy, thinking straight. And now I'm being brought back. I'm 48 kgs. And just ukiwa 48 kgs, shirt is in a hang, trousers zima isag. By the way, that particular time I noticed kumbe mse ukonda mguu. Even the shoes were not fitting. Everybody was so suspicious. Everybody is looking at you skeptically. And that was another failure, by the way, because to fight all those thoughts that are crisscrossing my mind, I had to stay drunk. And I moved into like several medical institutions trying to check what was happening with my health. Nilikuwa naenda kupimwa HIV, lakini siambiwi napimwa HIV. So kuna kadamu kanatolewa, unacheki kama pigishwa kona. So that kanaenda kuangalia kama, and my brother, my mother, nobody ever believed that I was negative. It was the issue of alcoholism. So that thing ilinilalia sana. It's something that pressed me a lot. So after it was discovered that I was diabetic, it was another stress. There was nobody who was to take me through the understanding that diabetes is a normal disease and it only needs management. So it accelerated me also to drinking. Nikafika ile level wenye you can drink and leave your phones in the bar. Nikipata do nitakamia. So unfortunately my grandmother, who loved me so much, would go for the phones. Anakuja anakaa nazo after 2, 3, 4 days Akiona nimeboeka ananipatia. Let me tell you, addiction treats you differently. The way it treated me is not the way it is going to treat you. So you go to, kama umefika kukunywa chang'aa to sachets, you'll create friends at that particular level, where you can fit in. Human beings are social creatures, so you look for that particular place where you're going to fit, where you'll feel appreciated. It's unfortunate because at that particular level, I remember there are friends who used to tell me, sasa wewe hata umeisha. In fact, you're done. Kama umeanza kukunywa hizi vitu, you are gone. And I felt like it's a level of stigmatization where you feel pressed down. Now, since I was at home and the drinking was controlled, nika develop kanguvu kiasi. And I started doing some small businesses between Nairobi and my friends who are in Dar es Salaam. And at one particular time, I left my home and went to Nairobi. Nakakaiva. So the deal went well. And what happened? Mahali ilivia, I didn't walk more than 20 steps. Didn't get to back street. And I started drinking. So, back street you drink while standing. Then after some time, you look for a seat. Wenye tu kana kushika. Unfortunately, nikapigwa mchele. So nikaspikiwa. The drink was spiked. And I went unconscious. All the money that I had was stolen. My phone, my wallet was stolen, and all the documents were left there, lying. So one of the well-wishers called some numbers that were there. And one of my cousins who was at Kawa West was called, who managed to come and linked with my brother, so they came for me. Nikafanyiwa first aid Nairobi, but it never worked so well. I was taken back to Molo. Now, while at Molo, I was taken to a nearby hospital. The first hospital tried its level best, but it couldn't. I was taken to another. Now, the fourth hospital, that was Medhill Nakuru, now admitted me to ICU. But the condition was, this guy should not be HIV positive. What you're supposed to do, whether he's in a coma or not, you're supposed to test him first. And it was very frustrating. And after that, I was taken to, they admitted me at ICU, where I stayed for 10 days. Now after 10 days, nikajisikia. And nilikuwa nimefungua mguu moja. One leg was tied at the bed, and this hand was tied. Because of that, I could monitor the movement so that nisitoe drips. Nilikuwa napigwa drip 2 hands. So, ndio nisijitingize sana, I was tied. So during the 11th day when I'm waking up, I'm lifting my leg, nasikia imefungwa. But I thought I was drunk. So I continued sleeping. At one particular time, niliamka, and the first face to see was my grandmother, who is saying, "Oh God, thank you God, mtoto wetu ameamka." And she never said any other thing. She just ran out of the nini. And now a crowd is around my bed, and najaribu kushanga, what are they talking about? So I was looking for my trouser because I urgently needed tobacco. Mimi nifikiria nilikuwa nimechiu. I never knew I was in a coma for 10 days. So I'm looking, ndio nikasikia another man hapa amelia. Hey. Looking, I discovered, oh my, I'm in hospital. I saw my mother, nikamuuliza, what am I doing here? He pointed another doctor, akaniambia uliza huyu. That's now what clicked me that I'm in hospital. And they are all over. There are machines all over, even my chest, my what. And after that particular time, the people who were on my left and my right passed on. So I could see the bed pulling them. I called my aunt, and this thing is traumatizing. If they can be able to transfer me from this place, I can appreciate. I was transferred now to the ward, under intensive care still. But now, I had a chance of reading the medical report while in the ward. And my lungs had a white coating because of tobacco. Unfortunately, nobody knew I was using tobacco. I had high level of blood toxicity I accumulated a bill of close to 1 million shillings. So lazima kungefanywa kaharambe kadogo so that they can be able to clear the bill. But after negotiation, I was released home as they organized the harambe.
An even bigger concern is the high number of people suffering from alcohol disorders in the productive age, mainly university graduates and workers at the peak of their careers in the 25 to 35 age bracket. But all hope is not lost. Senela quotes, "Drunkenness is nothing but voluntary madness." And John totally agrees with this quote.
During the fundraising day, I was drunk. So tulipatana na wale wase wanaenda fundraising, mimi nikiwa mlevi. And they're asking, "Huu ndio tunaenda kuchangia? We cannot contribute our money for such a person." So again I'm putting the family under embarrassment because we have a bill that's supposed to be paid and it has a deadline. And even before the fundraising is done, I'm drunk again. Now suicidal thoughts have started coming in. I'm feeling like I've disturbed the family enough. This is a bill close to 1 million shillings. I should just die and walk away out of this world and forget about everything that's happening. And while I was contemplating, just on time, my brother came and told me, now I've learned that this situation is now graduated to another level. It's alcoholism. You are addicted to this thing, and telling you to stop is something that is a little bit hard for you. You need help, my friend. You need help, and that's how I was linked to a rehab, where I went to seek refuge, and it took time because I stayed in a rehab for quite some time, close to a year, trying to contemplate my life, adding 1 + 1, being aware of myself, realizing that I'm still important, building up my self-esteem again. And after listening to their stories, their background, I realized, oh my, I can still make it. That was coupled by a session of several sessions of counseling, where my counselor would take me through understanding myself. When I left the rehab, here I am. I don't know what to do. I'm locking myself in this room, trying to think, where do I start? This is another new life altogether. I'm used to the life of being drunk and you don't care. Now you are being restored. You're now thinking to capacity, and you have adopted another new life altogether, where you are now sober. Now being sober means everything you do should be sober.
The presence of individuals like Faris Murangai has had a very big impact in the community, hence development. The pain of seeing young ones languishing due to alcohol gave him a burden, hence reaching out to such souls.
My name is Faris Murangai, the founder of the Institute of African Families, which is also the mother to Serene Green Transformation Center. John, we met with him a while back as an individual who was struggling with life. And having been involved with the work of working with the family as an institution, and the components of the family, which include the young people, I had a lot of faith that he can change and become a better person. And that was informed by my experience that every individual has the capacity to change. They can form a new picture in their mind of a better tomorrow. They can be able to make important decisions, and they can be able to exercise self-control over their life. All that they need is a support and working with a person who can help them rediscover themselves. I can tell you for sure that a huge percentage, and even the statistics we have from NACADA, the UN department that deals with the drugs, the percentage of young people who are abusing alcohol and other narcotics is increasing by the day. And even now, it's more worrying because we have the medicine that otherwise should be treating diseases being abused. So the number is increasing. And with the right interventions, particularly for the boy child, noting the social pressures, the changing culture, and the consequences on their lives, the interventions comes in handy because we are able to help them walk the journey of self-discovery, and the change happens. And this is the joy of everybody, the family that is involved, the community, the government, and that individual, because they have a lot of potential within themselves, and all it needs is to be tapped and well guided.
So far, I've been 1 year 9 months sober. 1 year 9 months, it has been a journey, but it's a journey that requires support and a serious support system.
If there is one woman who's joyful about John's transformation, then it's none other than Emma Njeri, a woman that has been a mother to John since she was walking with him through the journey of transformation from the first day John was introduced to her.
Some of those people who helped me from that particular situation, like Madam Emma, there are people who have held my hand so fast. So far, so good, because she's able to show me that I still had a life. And she brought me on board so that I can try to work with her to help people who are suffering in the same situation.
My name is Emma Njeri. I'm a counselor. The one who have been working with John. And John, just like so many addicts, it's a long journey. So what happens is, the first thing, you get into addiction, you want to change. There's that urge. I seriously think this is not where I'm supposed to be and I want to change. It's a journey. In the rehabilitation, it could be between 3 to a year, depending on what has been used. But after that, we are also open for mentorship, where we'll work with these guys who are struggling with addiction, like now what we are doing with John. Now he's on mentorship after he has done the rehabilitation, such that they really know now after treatment, what next? Because I'm well, I lost jobs, I lost relationships, I lost family, if there was any family involved. So what next? Because after rehabilitation, if we just release someone like that, goes back frustrated by issues, they tend to go back to the same issues.
Being one of those people who were transformed, I took it upon myself to see each and every other person there suffering has also been transformed. Addicts or anybody in addiction is sleeping on his potential. I discovered I had a lot of potential when I was in the rehab.
To the ones struggling with addiction, I quote, "Alcohol doesn't console. It doesn't fill up anyone's psychological gaps. All it replaces is the lack of God. It doesn't comfort man. On the contrary, it encourages him in his folly. It transports him to the supreme regions where he is master of his own destiny. Therefore, note this. The Lord your Creator is with you, no matter the extent of addiction. He is mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with his love and rejoice over you with singing."
Addiction is a situation where you're willing to stop, but unfortunately you cannot. That's what we call addiction. It can be either be addiction to TV, addiction to sex, addiction to alcohol, addiction to any form of drug. You're willing to stop, but you can't stop. The best way to go about it is seeking assistance at whatever cost. Seek assistance. Seeking assistance is not a sign of weakness, but it's a sign of strength, because this thing eventually dwindles you down to rock bottom. The other thing is that addiction is treatable. And since it's treatable, keep watching such stories. Keep reading on stories about addiction. Somebody can be addicted in a day, and some other people can be addicted in months, others can take years to be addicted. So addiction treats people differently. If you're experimenting, watch out, because as I said earlier, this is a swift thief that can take you into 3 particular places. It can take you 6 feet under. Number 2, it can take you to prison, and if you are lucky, you can end up in a rehab. So watch out. Any family, friends, relatives who are there, who are having a particular person who is going through such a particular situation, keep hope alive. Keep praying for the person and assist him seek help in any facility close to you, since God restores. The intensity of the damage is never a bother to God. And that's the story of my life.